An arbitrage. Not a very long show for you guys today, but we did want to just mention a few things.
Yeah, we just wanted to come in. We had some things that we came across recently this week, and we wanted to just see.
Subjects.
Thank you. And we wanted to just bring some attention to it, just in case you hadn't seen it as it comes across the news media. So first thing, and she's going to go in deep on some very heavy and deep things. I'm just going to bring something real quick that's technical, and we could talk about it for a while. So the first thing we want to talk about is the dollar, the U.S. dollar. So the U.S. dollar index is on the verge of forming a bullish golden cross. And this is we're getting this from Reuters. Reuters is a very reputable, right, reputable publication. So that it is going to form a bullish cross, which is a technical pattern that you would see on a chart. And so what a bullish cross is by definition is when depends on the stock or the index that we're talking about, when the short-term moving average, daily moving average crosses over the long-term moving average. And so typically it's a 50-day moving average crossing over and above the 200-day moving average. And that's when you typically see a bullish cross. And so that is what they are saying is happening here. So let's talk about why that is important. So the last time, and forgive me here, I have very small notes, but the last time that this happened was in 2022. And what you've seen after the bullish cross, you've seen the dollar index go up 24%, which is a lot when you're talking about Forex, right? I know everybody's in the crypto, they want, 100, 200, but when you're talking about dollar index, 24% increase against other currencies is a huge move. It's a huge move. So that's why that's important. Second thing, so if you're seeing that you're going to have a strong dollar, typically a strong dollar will push down precious metals, which we talk about, gold, silver, and others, and it will also push down Bitcoin. Seems to push down. That seems to be the correlation. Now, everybody wants Bitcoin to separate from the dollar, and so if it could separate from the dollar index, it could still go up as the dollar goes up. But typically, strong dollar, you lose you lose some percentage of Bitcoin, and your precious metals get pushed down. But here's the kicker: if you have a strong dollar, now you could take the strong dollar and reinvest it, buy Bitcoin if it does go down, or gold and silver if they go down. Buy them at what I call on sale, because the prices will come back up. They have to come back up, right? So you buy them on sale. Just like if you went to the store, you seen something that was fly, it was 50% off. You bought that on sale, right? That's what you got to look at it like. Don't get nervous about it. Buy it on sale. I'll talk about something else though with this dollar index in a minute, but go ahead and
My
speak on
thing's
it.
completely separate.
Well, just speak on what you think about the dollar index and moving around like that, and ways you could the arbitrage there's an arbitrage there.
I mean, yeah, in getting your precious metals, dollar cost averaging your Bitcoin. But it sounds like it's a super duper prop up.
Oh, there we go. That's what I was leading to.
Oh, okay.
Super duper prop up. And why do we say that? Because as I was reading, I scrolled down a few more articles, and I come to an article about the BRICS nations, and it says, "Is the dollar dead?" Oh, okay. So we've talked about this on multiple occasions about BRIC nations adding new nations to it, like Saudi Arabia, a very powerful nation, and so on. And what happens is they're trying to usurp the dollar and their transactions. Now they still have to use the dollar in transactions, so they haven't totally got out of the dollar, but they're trying to. They're trying to, between there's places like Russia. You can use the Russian ruble. You could use the Brazilian real. They still will use the South American rand. These are currencies of the countries where if Brazil is trading with Russia, it's okay to settle that debt in either rubles or reals. Right? Correct. Okay. Yeah. So That's the bricks pushing down on the dollar. And the dollar index with the golden cross is pushing up against the bricks. And this is interesting. This is something to keep your eye on. But while you still have the world reserve currency and it's pushing up against other currencies, make mindful investments.
Yes.
Make mindful investments with the dollar. It's very, very key. It's very key. It's a nice arbitrage right here, right now that we have. So take advantage of that. Keep an eye on it. I'll keep you up to date on it as I watch the dollar index against other currencies and things like that. And we still got to keep our eye on Bitcoin, precious metal prices, any other crypto coin that you may have. Keep an eye on it as it as it goes against the dollar, or maybe there are some that ride with the dollar. So if in your research you know something about that, it's a good time to invest, because like I said, the last time it went up 24%, which is huge in Forex trading. For all my Forex traders, you really don't get that big of a
margin.
Margin on different Forex. So keep your eye on it. I'll keep my eye on it. I'll keep you up to date best that I can. So you want to go into something a little more, it's a little more deep.
It's a little bit, it's separate, but it's not. Because sometimes we come on the show and we start talking about things and we take advantage, we take for granted the idea that you guys in the audience know what we're talking about. And I'm coming to learn that, like, a lot of times people have no idea they get it, but they don't really, really, really know. So we're going to do a quick little history lesson so that you guys can get a perspective change on all of the things that's happening in the world right now. So one thing I wanted to explain was one of the reasons why America or the U.S. is kind of in shambles is because the people have a perspective of the country, and the elites, the people who run the country, actually know what's going on. And that's why it seems like, well, how could y'all do that? And how could y'all do that? And how could y'all do that? So I just wanted to kind of explain the United States. You guys see the United States as a country. It is a corporation, period. Okay. In 1871, right? Congress passed the Act of 1871, making a separate corporate government for DC, and DC can act as a corporation outside of the U.S. That is your whole legislative, executive, and judicial branch when you think about it, right? Everything's right there in DC. So there goes your loophole. I always tell you, there's always a loophole. Everything is very legalese, Black's Law Dictionary.
Yes.
Right? We're programmed for one thing to keep us kind of dull or slower to act, or slow in general, when they already know how this works, and that's why they do the things that they do. So Washington, D.C. has a very interesting flag. For those of you who've seen the flag, it's a white flag and it's got 3 stars. Nobody ever asked what the symbology on flags mean. And it's like, because we do letters and numbers, we've come away from symbology, when symbology is everywhere. It's logos, right? Logos. The flag of Washington, D.C. is essentially its logo, and it tells you the essence of what it actually is. Those 3 stars represent 3 city-states: London, the Vatican, and Washington, D.C. Well, what does London and the Vatican have to do with the United States? I'm glad you asked, right? Spidey senses should be tingling. So these 3 city-states form what's called the Empire of the City. You guys can go look that up. It's very important that you do your homework. Go look that up.
Very important.
And the 3 stars are really the 3 functions, kind of like how we talk about the 3 branches of government, right? These are the 3 functions or the 3 roles of these 3 city-states. London controls the world economically. So you shouldn't be surprised when I talk about the World Economic Forum and the oneness of the Sustainable Development Goals. You shouldn't be surprised that King Charles is at the head of that.
So who is King Charles? What is he? What is he the king of?
No lie, y'all. I'm not joking. Y'all can look this up. King Charles is the king of the universe. He was coronated as the king of the entire universe. I am not joking.
Yeah, check it
I
out.
think it was
Check
last
out.
May. So y'all look that up. Watch the ritual ceremony.
Yeah.
I am not joking. And I can go into some deeper stuff with him. If y'all care about that, you should. Because again, they run the world economically. This isn't past tense when Britain used to be a big colonizer and had all these colonies and those colonies went independent. No, 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 no. This is right now. Mm-hmm. Here's another thing. King Charles is in charge of 56 countries out of 199 countries. That's a fourth of the world. Mm-hmm. Right? So understand that London, where he is, where he heads, runs the world economically.
And a quick reminder, mm-hmm. King Charles and his estate has mm-hmm. 61 trillion
with a T
trillion dollars under management.
Under management.
So, that's a lot. That's a lot. They got a lot going on over there. We gotta always be wary of them and see the moves that they're making mm-hmm. to see what kind of things that may be happening.
And we need to see things for what they are, and that's why I'm bringing this up, right? Mm-hmm. So the second star represents the Vatican. Vatican's in Italy. It's sovereign. What does it have to do with us? They run the world spiritually. Mm. And whenever you see King Charles doing something, you're going to notice that the Vatican is right there next to him. Yeah, the false prophet is right next to him. But we ain't going to talk about that. Hi, OMC. It says, yes, keep speaking the truth. You're on point. Folks, please listen. She's giving you history that's been hidden. It's not taught in school. That's why we're going to take y'all to church today. Today's the Sabbath. We're taking y'all to church. So the Vatican is in charge of running the world spiritually. That is why the missionaries went out and they weren't proclaiming the word of Jesus like Jesus asked, right? So let's put that away. That's why the common understanding of missionaries is they go to a country, hand the people the Bible, and leave with the land.
Yes.
Right? They run the world spiritually. They do the spiritual programming. It's why a lot of the world is Catholic. A lot of it. Okay. And then Washington, D.C., what's their role? What y'all think their role is? Washington, D.C., that they are like the bouncer. They are the military might. They are military power. Mm-hmm. Right? For those of you who are familiar with your Bible, back in the time of Isaiah, Babylon worked hand in hand with Egypt, right? Babylon was the corporate empire, and Egypt was the military power. Mm-hmm. It hasn't changed, y'all. Yeah. It's the same.
And I'll circle back around real quick before you move on to your next point.
Yeah.
But as she just said, mm-hmm. the bouncer, right?
The bouncer.
The military,
the thug.
As they say about fiat currency, the U.S. dollar is not backed by anything, but it's backed by military might. And that, you have to remember that. Mm-hmm. They have military might behind the dollar.
Right.
So that's what she's saying.
Right.
They're the might. They're the strong arm behind what's going on.
Everything, right? And that's where you get the weaponization of the dollar. So the things we're talking about correlate, but we just felt like we want to give y'all a little bit of history, because if you see it for what it actually is, then you can understand what's really going on. And there's not that, how could y'all do this? And, it's not that the victimization isn't there because you see this for what it is.
Good call.
Okay, so Washington, D.C. D.C. and the Vatican are both sovereign. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. I need to look in to see if London has something similar to that. I couldn't find it, but I need to dig a little deeper. But just understand that 2 out of those 3 are very sovereign, and then London is running the show.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the other thing. If the United States is a corporation, your president who has I tell y'all, marketing is wonderful, y'all, right? The United States marketing is that the president is the most powerful man in the world.
Yeah, they say the leader of the free world. That's what they call him.
He is really the president and CEO of the corporation called the United States, right? So he is not for the people, he is for the company. And if you can see it it's kind of like you see a man and a woman and they're married, and you just assume that the role he plays is her husband. Like, no, that's her handler. And if you understood that was her handler, you would see the relationship for what it actually is. right? And this is what we're looking at, right? We have this assumption of the United States is for the people, it's by the people, and it's about democracy and voting. And no, it's not. He's the CEO of a corporation. His interest is towards a corporation. That's why when you see stuff's happening, crisis and stuff like that, and the president drags his feet on getting there, why didn't he do anything? And this, that, and the third, because it is not in the best interest of the corporation. Everything they do is in the interest of the corporation. It is not in the interest of the people. And when you start seeing that, then you understand clone meat. Then you understand getting a jab. Then you understand being forced to do things. Then you understand the super cities. Mm-hmm. And it's not a, how could y'all let this happen? Because he's not for the people, he's not of the people. He's just the CEO of a corporation, and it is in the best interest of that business. All right, so now we got that. So these three cities are one interlocking empire called the Empire of the City. Y'all look it up. And that is what is going to run the world. And you're gonna see that now as they're consolidating, right? When this one world government comes to pass, you're gonna be like, oh my God, it's been there this whole time. Yes, it has. It's been there since the 1600s. They've been planning this. That's how long this has been in effect. That's how disciplined they are in their agenda. And that's how focused they are in destroying the people. Okay. And two, the programming we have is bad. They try to teach you that we're for the people, and this is, we want to hear what you say. We care about how you feel. We want to hear from the people. We have, what did they used to call them? Like you go to City Hall and they will have, not a Q&A, they have a thing you call, but you could go down there and you can talk and tell them.
Yeah, with the city council members.
Yeah, stuff like that. They try to have those things as a facade to keep you asleep. Mm-hmm. Right, hence the woke people. We ain't even awake anymore. We alive and kicking. Okay. Here's the other thing. How is London controlling the world economically, and what does it have to do with the United States if we were taught that the United States got their independence from Britain? We didn't. We did not. Right? That's part of the joke. When I tell y'all the life is a stage and they're all in it together, the joke is on us, the people. Yeah, it is. They know what it is, okay? The Paris Peace Treaty was signed in 1783. When was the Declaration of Independence? When was our independence? 1776. So in 1783, we're signing a Paris Peace Treaty, which specifically identifies the King of Britain as the Prince of the United States. Notice we don't have a king, we don't have a prince, we don't have a baron. What are other names of nobility? We don't have a duke. We don't have any of those names of nobility. You're simply the president of the United States, right? That's where they're gonna hit you over the head, right? Mm-hmm. How many of you have noticed with every presidential inauguration, first thing they do was fly over to England and get knighted by, not knighted, no, but they have to go meet with the Queen. And obviously now with King Charles, you have to go meet with the King. Y'all see how chummy Biden and King Charles is? Because Great Britain is still our parent. Mm-hmm. We still pay them. There has been no independence. Preach. Right? We are still tethered to them economically. We are their military arm. They are our wallet. Hi, Justice. It's a greetings, family. I'm catching up and behind a few minutes, but I see y'all are preaching today. We are spreading the good news, y'all. I don't know if it's good news.
It's the Sabbath.
It's the truth, though.
It's the Sabbath, so we got to preach.
But really, right? The Spirit of God in this day and age, the Spirit of the living God. Let me identify the God we're talking about. The Spirit of the living God, okay, says that he is going to lead you in all truth, and the truth is coming out, right? These are things they hid from us in school. That should have been the first thing we learned. They don't tell you nothing about that. I'm going to tell y'all a side story, and then I'm going to get back to the point. Okay. I attended a high school called Malvern High School on Long Island, New York. It was a very white school, very Jewish neighborhood. Went to school from preschool, all the way up to 12th grade. In about 11th grade, I kind of found in the basement some pictures of Martin Luther King segregating the school I went to. And I had to ask the administration about that. So they integrated the school I went to. Yes, I lived in like the black neighborhood and Malvern was in the white neighborhood. It's one of the richest municipalities in Nassau County. In the basement are pictures of Dr. Martin Luther King integrating the school I attend. They never taught us that.
No.
Never taught us that. They never once brought up, hey, by the way, Martin Luther King actually came to Lakeview, came to Malvern, integrated the school that you're in. He actually came here to make your world better. They never taught it to us. I found it by accident. So I'm trying to show you how the game is really running, right?
Yeah, somebody, I didn't know that.
It's Jess. She said the United Corporations of America.
There you go.
And that's, when we talk about sovereignty, I'm not going to get into the Brother Polite speech about being sovereign and Moorish talking points. I'm not going to do that. But just understand, when they start talking about your birth certificate and the strong man and the straw man and all of those other things, all of it has merit and legitimacy. It's valid because it's true.
It does.
And when you run a business, they ask, do you want to use your tax EIN, which is your business social security number? Do you want to use your tax ID, which is your social security number? Either which way, you are a business. You are part of this corporation. So the Paris Peace Treaty, 1783, y'all look that up, right? It identifies the King of Britain as the Prince of the United States.
Yes.
Our tax money, all of the things that we have going on is greatly interlocked with them, but understand they got the old money. We don't have the old money. So where the money going?
Yes.
Right? So just start thinking about those things, especially as the World Economic Forum, they're meeting this week. These spiritual leaders are also meeting. I'm not getting any information from those things, so I'm still digging and digging and digging, and the fact that it's been so closed doors is concerning to me because I want to know what's going on. The other thing that I want to explain is that Washington, D.C. has a very independent Declaration of Independence. I don't know if you guys know that. We have our Declaration of Independence, and they have theirs because they are separate. They're sovereign. Yes. And it's under a tyrannical Roman law called Lex Fori. Y'all can look it up. I'm not going to go into what Lex Fori is in this show because it's just going to take us down a rabbit hole we don't need to go to, and I want to stay within time. Yeah. But Roman law, right? Notice how much the United States, the oligarchy of the United States, matches and mirrors Rome down to the T. Even when you go to Washington, D.C., there are buildings, the Pentagon, the Capitol building, all of those buildings have Roman infrastructure, Roman architecture.
Yeah, and just for edification, if you tell them what an oligarchy is, just as far as different type of
like republic, oligarchy. So the oligarchy is where the rich people own and are in charge of everything.
Yes.
The people are peasants.
This is true.
Right? When we were little, I'm about to date myself, right? When we were little, when we went to school, used to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
We did.
Why did you have to pledge your allegiance? Who were you pledging your allegiance to? Right? To the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. I thought we were a democracy. Why am I pledging my allegiance to the republic? Rome was a republic. They were Republicans in their Congress in Rome. Everything we did, even though the people who came here, right, when they teach us about the Puritans and the Quakers, they were religious people from England. Yep. How did we get a Roman structure? True. Start asking these questions, and when you start asking these questions, you realize that that's not her husband, that's her handler, right? The United States isn't our husband there to take care of us. It is our handler to get us to do that thing in which he wants and needs us to do. It says, yes, slavery was never abolished. It was rebranded. Yes. Slavery was rebranded into the prison system, which y'all peep it, watch it, right?
Which was also rebranded into the school to prison pipeline.
And is now being rebranded into super cities.
Oh, nice.
Hey, yes, it's being rebranded into super cities. How many of y'all saw that New York City just did this thing? I think I played it for you.
Yeah.
Where if you commit a crime now, they letting you go. No bail, no nothing. They're not even gonna. It's crazy. I said, oh, okay. They said as long as it's not like murder.
Okay.
But if you're stealing, if you're doing this, if you're doing that, you get let go. You're not going to be held overnight, and you're not going to have bail.
I want to catch everybody see fam is saying.
Pauline Best, she said yes. In 1965, he led the fight to integrate Malvern High School. Pauline, are you from Long Island, or you just know that because you know that? Because Malvern's so little, people like don't know that. And they never taught it to us in school. Jess said we have never been freer citizens from our perspective. She's right. Mm-hmm. Rebranded under capitalism. Yes, right, because the prisoners in prison, they work for large corporations for literally pennies on the dollar. And then when they get out, can't work for that corporation for normal compensation and benefits.
And you see, you know, because I got love for my firefighters out there. Salute to all my firefighters, EMS. But you see when they had the California wildfires,
they use prisoners?
They use prisoners as firefighters. So they trained them as firefighters and sent them out there to fight the wildfires, right? Only if these prisoners get out, aren't eligible to be hired for a fire department. They got to go out there, pennies on a dollar, and fight the fires. And that's what they have to do. Put their life on the line, pennies on a dollar, and when they get released, then what happens? Can't even get a job.
Yeah, you can't even get a job. Pauline says she's my GT aunt. Okay. She's my GT auntie.
What's a GT?
Georgetown, Guyana.
Oh, Georgetown, yeah.
Which was a colony of Great Britain, by the way, y'all.
Yeah.
My mom literally has British passports because she left right before they gained their independence.
Yep, 64.
So, 65.
5, okay, 65.
So with that being said, I wanted to change our perspective, especially as I take y'all through the Sustainment Development Goals. I take y'all through their 7-year agendas. Mm-hmm. I'm going to start taking y'all through the Vatican's coexist, right? We've been seeing that for years, right? Where they take the symbols of religion and create the word coexist. Mm-hmm. Like using the O for the Star of David, and they use the C from Islam, and so on and so forth. Right now in Abu Dhabi, they have the Abrahamic buildings. So it's 3 buildings with Roman architecture, not Egyptian architecture.
What is it?
Roman architecture.
Can you recall the what it's called?
What, the cube?
No, the way the architecture is called, it has a certain name. But
I can't remember. But they have the columns. So when you think about Roman architecture, Romans were big, and the Romans stole it from the Egyptians. So let's not, because they're really the columns of wisdom that they stole from ancient Kemet. But it became Roman architecture, and we'll get into that another day because that doesn't have anything to do with money. That's just taking you history so you understand where you're at now. So we take you back so we can like, okay, here's the present. But anyway, the 3 Abrahamic buildings have modern chic Roman columns.
Yes, it does.
And they're in the shape of a cube, 1, 2, and 3. One building for Islam, one building for Judaism, the other building for Christianity. And they're going to consolidate the 3. Mm-hmm. We know how dangerous. Greco-Roman. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Jess. You got that. She on it. I hope Jess is a girl. Jess, if you're not a girl, I'm so sorry. Jess is on it. We all work for these big corporations for pennies on the dollar, not just, well, the incarcerated work literally like 6 cents an hour. That's what I meant when I said pennies on the dollar.
Peace to PFC Wells.
Right.
Peace, holla.
Hi,
holla,
PFC
son.
Wells. But what I did mean like pennies on the dollar, 10 cents, 14 cents an hour, whereas your average counterpart would be making $35, $40, $50 an hour in a role that's similar to theirs. So I just wanted to kind of give y'all the history that the United States is a corporation, and the things that they are doing are in the interest of the corporations. Yep. So, for instance, when we talk about the Maui fires, and I ain't going to get into what probably really happened there, but you see the celebrities are there basically waiting to try to buy the land. Nobody's going to do anything about it. When you see California has insurance companies who are not offering they're not offering policies anymore. They're not taking premiums because they don't want to pay out when the disaster comes. And I know they know something. That's why they don't even want to be bothered with it. Yep. It's why the government doesn't step in. Biden took 13 days to get to Maui because he was doing whatever he was doing. It wasn't that important because that's not in the best interest of the corporation. Like any CEO who makes a decision, this meeting is more important than that meeting. That meeting is not making us any money. It's probably going to cost us money. Let me go to the meeting where I can make some money. Yeah. It's why when the presidents are impeached, you never see anybody leave office, right? Like, let's be honest, right? All of these presidents have been impeached. Not one of them has ever left the office and been impeached the way we were taught impeachment works, right? You just come to work, you get that paycheck, just like you don't get suspended or anything. And even regular corporations, suspend,
Yeah.
right, without pay and put you on administrative leave and do this and do that and do the third. It's why when the government becomes militarized, it's against the people.
Yes.
Because that comes down from the branches in DC
Yeah.
that are for their corporation and the best business of interest, which is control. And whether you like it or not, you have to understand that just like prison or just like the military, look at how they run. We're assets. You're literally assets of whatever state and city you live in.
We are.
Or assets of the country.
We definitely are. Check that. I was gonna say something.
Jess is a girl.
Okay. I messed it up last show, so I gotta try to do better. That's what you said?
Yeah, she's a sister. Shout out to Jess.
Where's she going?
She just wrote, I'm a sister. She feels us on the prisoner plight. She just wanted to remind that, like, all of us are struggling, really.
Yeah.
Like greedflation, union fights, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, I know about that.
And then she's talking about the cop cities. So the militarization is to control the people. Because,
Boom. She said cop city?
Yeah.
So let's tell her about what we seen last night.
All right.
In New York City.
New York City. A gentleman went live and the militarized police, this don't look like regular NYPD.
No, this is the NYPD.
Rolling in tanks and city, because there were tanks too.
Tanks, but they had city police vehicles that said NYPD on the side.
And they were rolling down the street and they were telling citizens on a bullhorn, y'all get in the house, we're spraying to reduce the effects of the West Nile virus. Now, I know y'all gonna blame that on the migrants who are there because the migrant situation's out of control. And we could do a show about that because it's all about money, right? The resources that are going into all of that. But none of the migrants came anywhere from a place where West Nile virus would be prevalent. Right. That's one. Two, you're spraying poison in the air. It's getting in people's house.
So give a visual. So what you have is, this looks like a residential street. And like she says, militarized vehicles. They look like tanks. These armored vehicles coming down the street. You got police, the police cruisers coming down the street, and the police actively spraying in this community, telling people get in the house, and then you can come back out when we're finished.
Don't come back out, y'all. Y'all stay in the house.
Right.
Right. Don't come back out inhaling that because you don't know how long that stuff hang out in the ether. Right. And you don't know what they're spraying. We, the people, didn't give you permission to do that. You didn't ask us if it was a good idea to do. You see what I mean? Yep. They just do stuff.
Just do stuff. Just do stuff to harm you.
PFC Wells says if you have a license in a state or a state ID, you have citizen of that state at the local level. Yes, but PFC Wells, did you peep how a lot of the states now have jurisdiction in other states? They have what's called reciprocity in multiple states. So if you're from New York has reciprocity in Florida. If your license is suspended in New York, they absolutely will suspend that Florida license if they catch wind of it, right? If you try to move and kind of do something different, you try to get a new license, I'm gonna take the road test, I'm gonna circumvent that whole thing. No ma'am, no sir, right? Because they have jurisdiction in those areas. Obviously, the tri-state areas have jurisdiction, working together. Not for your benefit either. They're working together in order, like I said, more and more you're going to start to see arbitrage, that opportunity, that golden sliver of opportunity is starting to become like the size of the eye of a needle.
Yeah, so you got to be on top of it. And I feel what you're saying, PFC Wells, about that. But also with the things like she said, that reciprocity, and you got certain states that are commonwealths. So then there's some different rules and laws and things when you're dealing with a commonwealth over a state.
Or a municipality.
Yeah, so you got,
Right. They have all of the different names too, and you need to be, and average people aren't on top of those
things. You got to be on top
especially
of that
if you're driving through a municipality, because sometimes they're little. You're driving through a municipality and that police pulls you over, they have their own situation that they can do with you and do with your license. But that's not what we're talking about. Jess is also an EMS, 20-year paramedic.
Oh, shout out to Jeff. 20 years. Shout out to my paramedics.
And it says the East Coast is very interconnected through your license. Yes, PFC Wells, they're notice how everything's consolidating. Now I'm taking y'all back history, and this is why history actually is important. So for those of y'all who didn't think your teacher was telling you the truth, she was absolutely telling y'all the truth, right? Before when money was tethered to gold, when states created, I like to call it an IOU, but when states created paper money, each state had their own paper money. Each state was sovereign. Texas was sovereign. Missouri, let me think now. Texas was sovereign. I want to say the Dakotas were sovereign because that's where you had the cowboy country. California was sovereign. Them frontier areas, right? New York had their own situation. They had, and they still do, but they had their own Fed. And now, obviously, y'all know their Fed is private now. It wasn't then, right? But the financial headquarters was in New York. That's what Wall Street really was before they moved it back then, right? And everybody had their own kind of paper money. So if you went from Texas to, I don't know, North Dakota or New York, they had a different set of money, and you had to do almost like a conversion, like going to another country.
Yeah, it's like it's exactly like going to another country.
Yeah, it's like going to another country.
Like, that's why, and I'm not going to get off it, but that's why Europe consolidated to the euro.
To the euro, right?
Every country over there had their
instead
own
of all of the conversions, and it's real close up, just like
it's like states.
Yeah, it's like states in Europe. So imagine if you went from New York to New Jersey and you had to use a different currency. Or if you went from New York to Connecticut, that's for my New Yorkers. Let me talk to my Southerners. If you went from Florida to Georgia, right, and you had to use different money, and there was a conversion thing, and you had to pay to convert it.
Remember, you always lose money in the conversion. So you're losing money. You have to pay. And it's just a way for them to take money from you. But yes, indeed.
Yeah, Pauline, that's true. Professionals have to apply for reciprocity, like nursing, EMTs, paramedics, so on and so forth. And not all states have that agreement. Very rarely do you get the reciprocity to just go ahead and it's the same thing, right? It's the same clinical hours. I can't imagine my practice would be that far from, you should be doing blood body precautions like I am, but it is very different, Pauline. You're absolutely correct. So they like to keep stuff separate in that way. But when it comes to their benefit, that's when they consolidate. And that's the part that I'm trying to show you guys, is that we're looking at a one world government, but the honest to God truth is that it's always been one. It's just that they didn't teach it to you and they didn't show you their hand. That's why I wanted to take you back to the 1700s. In 1606, King James was actually the one who gave them money to go into North America and start looking at it. Pull like a Columbus. I'm going to go ahead and finance this trip. Y'all tell me what's over there. And they don't teach you that in school. That was in 1606. And if I'm giving you the money to go over there and to explore, right, what am I expecting? I'm expecting some type of dividend on my investment. And to this day, they are still getting the dividend to that investment because King James is now down to his whoever, great-grandson, King Charles. PFC Wells said, I don't get why we still use one currency when we see it always falls into long-term issues because one party always wants to dominate the other markets. This is true. But like I said, they're all in bed together, right? So the BRICS is coming up with their own BRICS currency. And notice that you don't hear, this is the first time you have not heard the United States kick up a fuss. That should have had all types of red alarms ringing, right? Because when the United States tried to pull out of, when the people of de jure in Africa tried to kick the United States and France out, it went from DEFCON 5 to DEFCON 1 in a matter of 4 hours. There's some red flags going off. BRICS, you got all of these countries saying, F your dollar. We're going to make our own currency. We're not going to settle in your money. We're going to do business without you. You didn't hear a peep from your CEO, from the COO, which would be Ms. Harris, right? You didn't hear nothing from England, but know that they're all at the World Economic Forum coming up with the solution after 6,000 years of no poverty. Right? When they see each other and they greet each other, y'all watch the videos, they kiss each other on the cheek.
Yeah, they do.
Y'all think Putin is against this and the president of China is against that and this one's, no, they're not. They all work together. That's why ain't nobody kicking up a fuss about it. The other reason why the United States is not kicking up a fuss, because their father, England, has $61 trillion under management. That's why America's like, yeah, all right, whatever. We're going to bankrupt this whole thing. We're going to blow this whole thing up so we can establish a new world order, but we have to do it by fear, by anxiety, and by tyranny to get the people to go along with what we're doing, because we're not really a democracy.
Yep. What she's saying is what we say here in the Bitcoin community: fear, uncertainty, and
doubt.
You know,
FUD.
So yeah, a couple of people chopping up game with us.
I'm so wild they're going in that direction. So they will do the same thing the U.S. a few generations down the road. They're gonna blow this whole thing up.
Yeah, we're in trouble.
They're gonna blow the whole thing up.
We're in trouble, but it's okay.
Right? But that's the only, their thing is to destroy in order to rebuild. That's why you're hearing, and you should be hearing, and it should be on your timelines, the Great Reset. You should be hearing the buzzword. We're gonna build it back better. I want y'all to Google these things.
It's a relevant question.
How is BRICS currency gonna affect trading prices? Well, for one, BRICS currency is going to become a brand new currency, right? And right now they were looking at the currency conversion, one brick dollar, or whatever we want to, one brick is going to be, it takes 55 US dollars for one brick dollar. So if they are trading oil and this barrel of oil costs 20,000 bricks, how much is that in US dollars?
Yeah,
if the US has to settle in their dollars, and how does it affect us when we try to go get gas? So what do they do? And this is why I'm saying they're all in it together. Isn't the US talking about y'all getting electric vehicles anyway? You see, this is what I mean when I say they're all in it together, and that's why you're not hearing nothing from the US. It looks like division. Satan will never cast out Satan, because a house divided cannot stand. They are all united, and they're playing tricks on your mind. They're hitting you with the okey doke. If y'all from New York, 1990s, they beating you over the head with a hammer.
Yeah, well, that's
right? You remember they used to say, "Don't beat me over the head."
Yeah,
like, come on now, I'm not stupid. But that's what I want you to see. Okay. Right? So don't be fearful about the whole BRICS thing, because in the end, we're gonna own nothing and be happy anyway. So what are you worried about dollars for? And that's the can they want to kick down the road. Right? We're gonna provide you a beautiful apartment. Mm-hmm. You ain't gonna have no big colossal house that your children gonna run all over and make a mess and leave toys everywhere. You're gonna have a luxury apartment. It's gonna be a smart apartment for your convenience, and it's gonna monitor everything you say and do, much like your cell phone does right now. And the lights, the electricity, everything's gonna be smart. They're gonna put this crystal in your wall that's gonna control the electricity in your home, and we're gonna talk about that in another show.
Yeah, we are.
Your food is gonna be delivered to you, so you don't have to worry.
You don't have to leave the house.
I want y'all to know, right, heads up, the corporation of the United States says, y'all eat too much, they wanna cut food production down by 40% by 2030.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Let me see what's up here.
Just said yes, they've been scary quiet about BRICS and the French being resisted by Niger and their new defense unit, something coming. Absolutely. Absolutely. They were able to get them out of de jure in Africa, Jess, but these other countries are trying to follow suit. But it took Russia, because now they're waving the Russian flag, to help get the United States and France out of there. They wanted to build a gas line. This sounds crazy, right? They're gonna build a gas line through the country so that England can get natural gas.
Yeah, that's
and it be in an efficient way that doesn't cause carbon emission issues.
Yeah,
and they're like, get that.
Pauline, yes, you're right. George Orwell, 1984. So we could have seen this coming had we read that.
Had we read that.
Had we read it.
It wasn't on the school. I bet you it wasn't on y'all school curriculum.
No, it wasn't.
Just said, I'm expecting major backlash against the African countries that are trying to get free. No, you're not going to see backlash from them, because they're going to get in bed with China. They're already talking about when China comes, they come with resources, they come with money, and they don't need that much from us. So start watching what the heads of state in Africa are saying about China. It's nothing but good things. I watched China go in and basically colonize Guyana for the gas and some of the other rich minerals, bauxite, and a few other things. And I don't see Guyanese people doing any better than they were. So it's like, you just traded one snake out for another, right? It's not a black mamba this time. It's an asp. right? It's just a different poisonous snake. It looks prettier. PFC Wells, electrical vehicle market ain't gonna compare to the combustion engine market for at least 50 years. This new alignment of members in the BRICS helps secure oil for the next 100 years. Yes. PFC Wells, you're absolutely right, but guess what? Control is control.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I had to come around over here.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, PFC Wells, you spitting good game right there. I see exactly.
And she's absolutely correct. And a new battery for electric vehicles, $20,000.
And but what the thing is, we've talked about this on other shows, is these people out here that we are speaking of, they have these 100-year plans. So if something's not going to be viable for 50 years, to them, that's okay. Yep. Right? Because they got the foresight to see way out 100, and then I've heard people about 200, 300-year plans when it comes to like your progeny and who's going to be taking over. And so, yeah, you're right. It's not going to happen no time soon. It probably won't happen in our lifetime.
But you know that to be true because I just told you that the Vatican, London, and the United States been in bed together since the 1700s. Yeah. Here we are in 2023. They're doing a World Economic Forum together. They want to build smart cities. Now, here's the other thing, PFC Wells.
But they're keeping on the road with that plan from all the way back then. I think it's from 1604, actually, that you mentioned with
1606, King James?
King James, 1604,
He wanted to explore it, and that's probably, now they don't document that's why, but that was probably the vision that they had given to them.
Yep, exactly.
By the spirit that they operate in. But when you talk about the combustion engine market for at least another 50 years, I want you to keep the smart city at the forefront of your minds. You cannot drive more than 15 minutes away, and in other smart cities, there is no driving. You do not own a vehicle. What does that mean? That means you don't have to have a whole bunch of electronic vehicles on the market to begin with, right? They've already gotten y'all programmed for ride sharing. Do y'all remember it? I'm sure you still have it, but like in Atlanta, Georgia, on the interstates, they have carpool lanes. They're all going to be carpool lanes. You have to, every step of the way for you is monitored. You're not driving anywhere you want to.
And you got to understand, too, as people put these things in place, young people who are born and come up in this system, to them, it's just regular. It's normal. It won't be nothing. I see now, I hear a lot about now, these young people not even getting driver's license.
Yeah, because they take Lyft and Uber. And
so cats don't even have licenses to get a car or a vehicle.
Right.
And so they're just coming rolling right into the system, like, right?
And a lot of these smart cities, it's not the 15-minute drive, right? You're 5 minutes away from whatever you need. You're a 10-minute walk away from whatever you need. And that is what they're developing. So honestly, it doesn't matter if they can get the electric vehicle market up as progressed as the combustion market.
Yeah, so I read a couple people out here.
Just said, oh yeah, Russia and China, there's a reason why socialism, communism been villainized and warned against by free countries. We're about to run into our own communism. When you think about it, this World Economic Forum is communism. You're going to own nothing and be happy. We're going to give you what we feel you should have in the name of climate change, in the name of sustainable development goals. And don't you want to save the world? You got to eat less. You can't drive. You go where I tell you to go. You come back when I tell you to come back. You live the way I tell you to live. You don't need a car.
Yeah, and some of this, you can listen to some of the people out here, and they will say some of this is fading into Marxism. And we could do a show on Marxism. It's pretty intricate. You guys know about Marxism, but we could do a refresher if need be.
We probably do. And fascism, right? We need to do all of that because it's really like this gumbo.
That's how it's starting to tighten up on.
Yeah, it's that gumbo that we're looking at. And I wanted to bring up the United States being a corporation because Americans think they have freedoms that y'all can see y'all freedoms is getting tighter and tighter. Americans have freedom of speech as long as you're not slandering, there's no defamation, libel, right? But when you on the internet, you do shows like this and you say certain things, what happens? Your show get taken down.
The whole channel.
They say you violated community standards. We're going to put you in Facebook jail.
There we go. That's what
we're going to take you off our platform, off of Twitter or whatever it is that you're on. You can say the most debased, depraved things on social media, but when you start speaking the truth, they're going to take your behind off of that platform.
This is true. This is
the censorship. And it really does, when you think about it, it goes against our ability to have freedom of speech, the right to bear arms. I don't know where that's going to go.
Yeah, so
There is going to be a backlash, but with the militarization of the police, right, the tightening of the households and paychecks being not right, they're going to start dangling carrots to people. If you help us control them, we'll give you a little bit more.
Well, let's read a few people. They got some good comments out here.
You got building in the city where, oh, sorry. It says, PFC Well says you got building in the city where you don't have to leave the building for anything. Yeah, you already have smart buildings. They're already there. Everything you need is right there in the name of convenience. Simon and I took the kids to Mexico City and we stayed at this beautiful skyrise and we just kind of went, just like looking at the amenities. There was the grocery store on the floor below us. We went grocery shopping. We didn't even have to leave the building. We didn't leave the building all week long. Brooklyn and Queens will get those buildings too. Those are projects, right? So they've been working on that for a long time.
Yeah, they gonna get
That's Left Rack City, right? When you think about it. Left Rack City had all of the storefronts at the bottom. They had the Queens Mall right there. I mean, Smart City 1970. I mean, I don't know. The language has begun. Yes, look at the language, right? Zero carbon emissions. We're going to build it back better. Nobody is safe. And notice the pause. Unless everyone is safe. And you know that statistically speaking, everybody can't possibly be safe. And with that logic, if then, nobody is safe. And they want to roll that in, you're not safe, you're not safe. That's the subliminal messaging. And I want y'all to look it up. Look up the Nobody is Safe news montage. And they pause because they really want the emphasis on nobody is safe. We want you to be afraid. That's the subliminal messaging. And they say nobody is safe unless everyone is safe. But you know, your subconscious knows that everybody can't possibly be safe. So then nobody's safe. And it leaves humans in anxiety. Communism and socialism are when we control the means of production, not them. No, communism, nope. Socialism, maybe. Bernie Sanders socialism, yes. But in communist countries, the government decides. If you go to Cuba, you get 2 sodas. You get a Coke and a Fanta. That's it. You get 1 water. You get CL. You don't get to choose different brands.
You get 1 beer.
You get 1 television media company, right? Even with clothes and stuff, you don't get that diversity. So that's communism. The government decides. Socialism, yes. Bernie Sanders socialism is we the people have a voice. We the people have a choice. But y'all already know it's a corporation. They can't set it up that way because they're not set up that way.
But that's why I want to do a deep dive on Marxism, because there's a lot of tenets here that we were speaking about that actually flesh out to Marxism. And we can talk about it, you know, if you want.
He wrote Left Rack City. That's funny.
Yeah.
They want each of us to be afraid and hate each other, divide and conquer. Yes, they want the people to be divided. That's what the whole point of the parties are about, the Democratic Party, the Republican Party. And it's to keep y'all arguing, but they go to golf together, they eat dinner together.
And you know, the funny thing is, you know, when you break it down, they want to divide and conquer the people, right?
The people, yes.
And then when you kind of break it down to smaller levels, you see out here on the internet, I know you guys see it, they want to divide and conquer between men and women. So they're dividing and conquer and down the levels, right? We can divide and conquer the people, and then we can divide and conquer the men and the women, right? Where they should be coming together as a union.
For several reasons, yeah. They want enmity between the man and the woman, 1, for depopulation purposes.
Yep, there you go.
2, when there's a man in the house, there's a leader in the house, there's vision in the house, there's confidence in the house, there's strength in the house. I want you guys to do a deep dive on the emasculation of the alpha male in the United States. They don't want y'all fighting back.
No, they don't.
Right? That's what the prison system was really about. It was taking the alpha male black man, right? We're going to put y'all in prison. We're going to take y'all out the house in the 70s when y'all have these children and stuff. And it was a way, because when y'all were fighting back during the civil rights movement, that was too much for them. They had to be taking this body out, that body out. They keep looking for the rise of the messianic energy. Your Martin Luther King, your Malcolm X, your Fred Fred Hampton,
Sr.,
right? They were looking for Fred Hampton Sr. That's right, because he got a son named Junior. They were looking for that messianic energy, and that's what they want to beat down.
And they call it fear of the Blackamoor Messiah. And there's actual documents within the CIA that Edgar Hoover had about looking for this Blackamoor Messiah. People like Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, our brother, Medgar Evers, and so many others. There are actual documents within the CIA that you can pull up where they have, it's COINTELPRO, right? COINTELPRO, where they're going after the black people like that, Fred Hampton Sr.
The messianic energy.
Yes, they're going after them people, and so
they don't want the fight back.
Yeah,
Pauline is talking.
And I'm say one more thing. Of course, if you guys know the history, you probably know this. Malcolm X had 6 daughters, right? So there was no male heir to come through, but he had a grandson. He is Malcolm Shabazz, and Malcolm Shabazz was on the rise to fight for the people, and he was killed in Mexico City, right? And they say it was a bar fight over a dispute about a tab, but we know that's not what it was. That man was assassinated because they can't have Malcolm X heir rise to be the Blackamoor Messiah. So I'm sorry, I get off my soapbox and let her read this. People talking.
PFC Wells got a movie he want to share with us.
Okay.
Looking at global events. She said, Pauline said she don't want to talk about male and female roles. I get it. The enmity is real.
It's real.
Jess said, spot on, especially against black men and women. This manosphere of modern woman BS is a follow-up to the crack epidemic, right? And you don't see that in any other community. You don't see white people having those discussions. You don't see the Hispanic women talking. I live in Mexico, okay? Yeah. And let me tell you something. They got some good PR marketers, because the stuff that they say about us, we see it here every day. I don't know you from a bag of dimes, but I can tell that y'all have a baby daddy epidemic, right? And nobody talks about it, but no other community, Chinese community, no other community, or I should say Asian. The Asian community don't come against each other like that. Even the music, the denigration of the black woman and the black man in music, the gun bars, all of that, you don't see that in any other genre of music.
Do not.
Right? Even heavy metal rock is going to have a demonic undertone, but they're not beating each other up. They're not trying to destroy each other. No. So you're really looking at the destruction of the messianic energy, but we'll go into that another day.
Yeah, that's another thing.
That's a whole nother show.
Only thing I meant to bring up is that they're dividing and conquer down to the lowest level. And so, we got to keep our eye on that. We got to stay strong. Because we all we got. We got to stay strong and fight together with this. Be prepared for what is going to happen. What is inevitably going to happen.
Right, but it lets you see things different, right? You don't feel like a victim when you know, oh, y'all set that up from the beginning that you were going to be a business and you were going to exploit me as part of the corporation. I get it, right? So you're going to do what you're going to do, but that means I have to do what I have to do, and I have to move different. I noticed that Americans, they have this thing where when crisis, what is the government going to do to help us? Who should we vote for to help us? And it's like, that's not working. We've been voting. How many presidents are we at now? 47? No, Trump was 45, right? So this is 46. 46 presidents. What have you gotten? How far have we made it? And now we're like at apocalyptic level 1,000.
Yeah.
Right? So you just got to say now, if things have never really changed and things have always kind of sort of been the same, and we're starting to get the truth as to the legislation of things, how things are set up, things that they say, right, we have, but we really don't, then I have to look at what this really is. And if you can see it for what it really is, and that's why I took you down, history lane, his story, not yours, history lane, you can be like, oh, then you could understand the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve is a private corporation. It is not federal. It is not public. It is not of the people. Okay. It's not for the people.
Let's say it like my man likes to say, Mike Maloney, and
the cartel.
Andy Shackman. No, the Federal Reserve is neither federal or has no reserves.
No, they checkbook come from Potter land, Harry Potter wave his wand over that checkbook, and there's your $2 million. I don't know if you guys saw, but in January, the United States had to come clean and say they cannot seem to locate $2 billion.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight. The IRS can come after this guy for $50,000. He can come after him for $4 million. We have all of the records that you didn't pay this $4 million. Here are the tax documents. But y'all can't find $2 billion? What y'all do with it?
What happened? Where'd it go? It's just gone.
And they have to come out to the people and tell them it's missing.
Let's roll up and see what the people they chopping up game.
PFC said,
roll up. It was some
it's just facts.
Oh, okay.
PFC Wells said, that's why I don't accept the voting campaigns. It doesn't make sense to vote on what someone else decides you have the option to vote on. And you're voting on the same quarter. Like they're showing these people this side of the quarter. I have a coin in my pocket. They're showing you this side of the coin, right? You people vote for this side. And then you people, we want y'all to vote for this side. And these two people are arguing with each other when it's the same daggone coin.
Yeah, and you know,
it doesn't make any sense.
It don't make no sense to vote, but I will still say, because we've been there and done that, you may have to vote on the local level, right? Because there's certain things they want to raise.
Well, you can see progress at the local level.
Yeah, they want to raise your property taxes, raise how much it costs for sanitation. It's little things that maybe you got to go vote. We used to always have problems. They wanted to close down yellow bus service. They said, no, we need that, you know, because you shut that down.
Public safety.
Yeah,
we want to pull back the resources. Now, when the cops were acting up and just shooting people with impunity, they did pull back those resources,
and
right?
So, you know, you might have to vote on the local level for things that affect you where you live at.
And you can see the progress. You can see, and you can really hold that over their heads, right? But that's grassroots level, and that's why that works.
That's why it works.
Once you get up to, you know, them voting for the Supreme, they gonna vote for who they want to for the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
they don't care about what the people need. The Pentagon has never passed an audit, but let one of us accidentally come up short on. Yes, the IRS gonna find it. You owe the IRS 10 cents, they want their money. Send them checks. Local voting matters, but the national stuff isn't what people think. It's not what people think.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to share, like, this is what the United States actually is. Because when you have an image in your mind of what something is, you have an expectation for it. And when that expectation isn't fulfilled, you're left feeling like a victim. You're left, you know, like upset. You're left grieving. You understand what I'm saying? So why are you looking at me?
Oh, my bad. I was trying to hear what you were saying.
But the Americans have the expectation that the government is their Uncle Sam.
Wow, that's good. That's a good point.
Right? Or, you know, if you want to do they do the husband analogy, and like that's not your husband, that's your handler. And that's why he's not treating you like a wife, because that's what the United States is doing. So that's what we wanted to share with you guys, and it did have a lot to do with the dollar.
The dollar, yeah, keep your eye on that dollar. So, you know, the dollar index is that, for you guys who don't know, it's the XY. If you go in there and you pull it up, the XY, you can see the dollar index, you can see the movement, and you can keep your eye out for this golden cross. This golden cross is serious, because really with the shorter day moving average, being able to push through that 200-day moving average, because 200-day moving average on all charts is a really strong top, and usually it gets rejected and then it'll go back, right? But if it pops over, there's your golden cross. So that's what we're looking for. And like I said, the golden cross last time in 2022, 24% increase. So, you know, keep your eye on that. Use your dollars wisely, even if it's just a few dollars. It don't have to be a whole. It don't have to be. It's just a few dollars. Use them wisely. You know, stack your stacks. Whatever stack you prefer, stack your stacks.
And make sure you're getting extra water, non-perishable goods. We're gonna keep reminding you guys of that. I don't know what they're doing on October 4th with that national testing situation.
That will be something.
They're spraying the skies with chemicals. They're sending pulses and different frequencies to see how you behave.
Like she said, get your water. You know, get your if you got a generator type of stick, get your gasoline.
Or those portable batteries that we were talking about.
If you triple OGs, get your ammunition. Right, get your ammunition. Be prepared. For my brothers out there, I like to see people have a bulletproof vest. You know, we're not gonna go too deep down the rabbit hole. But you know, get you a vest, get people vest up if need be. But let's read some of the comments.
PFC Wells says the IRS won a case during the summer that they can acquire your financial records as part of investigation to someone else. So they're trying to investigate somebody else, but what they need your records for?
Nah, but see, now what that is, the IRS, which is a federal, what would you call it?
Corporation?
Federal corporation, if you will. They'd like the daisy chain stuff.
They do, I see that.
FBI does that stuff.
That's crazy.
They daisy chain. They try to connect you to this person,
to somebody
who
else,
knows that person, that person, and now you hemmed up.
And it says neither them or the bank have to tell you that they collected your financial data. Yeah. Jess says she supports the Cornel West campaign as a way to help unite people and build consciousness.
Yes.
As a movement.
Salute to Dr. West, Dr. Cornel West. Salute
Biden is already moving different in response to the threat that it poses. OMC, hi OMC, says buy gold, silver, and utility crypto.
Thank you.
Just as power tools, generators, candles, learn how to grow, do first aid, partner with your neighbors.
Thank you. Everything that was just said right there.
And PFC Wealth says precious metals, gold and silver. Absolutely.
Yeah, because precious metals, I'm talking about physical, you can have them in a depository. Like over there in Oklahoma City, I forget the Citadel, or you could keep them in your home or wherever you want to keep them. But when you have them in your possession, like Bitcoin Zay says, no keys, no cheese, right? So same kind of thing with your precious metals. You want them in your possession because you really don't know if you own them with the problem of rehypothecation.
You don't own it.
Yeah, with the problem of rehypothecation of silver when you got paper silver and this stuff in depositories. So have some with you available at your home, right? So people don't know that you have it. Nobody can say, "Oh, you got $100,000 worth of precious metals." People don't know that. That's mine. That's mine on the low, man. Don't come for it. But conversely, it's hard to protect. It's hard to protect. So, it's always going to be a problem out here. If it's not one thing, it's the other. But we get up.
That it's like that.
Yeah, we fight every day. So that's what we do.
Well, we kept y'all long enough.
Yeah, we did. I'm sorry. Read out the last few for the family.
PFC Wells said brace and steal. They're going to steal it. But we thank y'all for joining us.
He said what?
It says embrace and steal.
Oh, goodness.
We thank y'all for joining us. I haven't gotten any information about the World Economic Forum meeting this week. That's crazy.
We're waiting.
And they're meeting up about the spiritual, the Vatican.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not the Vatican.
Not the Vatican.
The Pope is meeting up, putting together, because he has to meet with King Charles and sit down and talk to him. You see the city-states getting together, London, Vatican. The United States is military power, so they're not always in on this stuff. They're basically there to enforce what the two of you have conspired and conjured up.
There we go.
I use conjured for a reason, right? Because that's the spirit y'all deal with.
That's great.
But they are going to do COP28 in December. Okay. So I'm going to sit down and talk to y'all about that. That's more, it's basically tied to the World Economic Forum. But the clock is ticking now, right? Because now it's really less than 7 years, considering now we're in September of 2023 and the agenda is 2030. So I'm waiting to see what that brings, what develops with that, and what's going to be happening in the interim. And then we're going to keep you guys up to date. We'll
keep you up to date. Go ahead, see what Jess had to say. We'll get on up out of here on this one.
She said, y'all a truly beautiful, brilliant couple. I came across you from Zay's show or maybe a year or two ago, and I'm so happy I caught this live. I love how you two move together. It's my Siamese twin, Jess.
Yeah.
It's my Siamese twin. Your super chat is turned off on purpose. We have a super chat?
Oh, we got super chat?
That could be the problem, Jess, is that I didn't know we had super chat.
I didn't know.
The meeting is when? So COP28 is going to be in December. I think it's December 12th. In Dubai. So I'll have the details of that for sure next show. I'm going to run through a couple of other things that they're doing because the cities that y'all live in, once they finish kind of doing this thing, they really have until like January 1st is when implementation starts. And you're going to see just how fast stuff's going to start to move. Because he basically says, we got $61 trillion. We realize it's going to take an enormous amount of resources to get these things implemented, and we need to get them implemented by any means necessary. Yes, he did, quote, Malcolm X. He surely did.
Yeah.
So just understand how fast stuff's going to get moving at the top of 2024. So as the year's closing out, Simon and I are going to keep you updated step by step on their plans, their implementations, roadmaps, stuff like that. $10. Oh, thank you.
So and
That's OMC sent $10.
What I'm saying about the super chat, so I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. How that works.
You have to. Unfortunately, we're trying to explain this. We're doing this show on on their platform, right? So we don't really have access to the back room. So I don't know why the super chats turned off. Erin did put her.
I didn't put the Cash App on there.
Okay, well she does have a Cash App.
We the church. We supposed to give y'all information free. Says a lot of times when couples do these together, the energy is tilted. But you two are beautifully complimentary and respectful of one another. Love it. Girl, I've been with him since I was 19. I'm 43 years old. We've been together a long time. That's them new couples that be tilted. OMC. It works. Oh, Super Chat works.
Where'd it go?
We don't know how to use it, though.
Where'd it go?
It's right here.
But I'm saying, where'd it go? It went to the ether? I'm sorry. I don't even know, man.
Well, we'll figure it out.
As they
but
say.
Thank you, OMC. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, PFC Wells. Thank y'all for the love.
Thank you guys for keeping
Auntie Pauline, thank you so much for coming. And as soon as I have some more information, like I promised, we'll go live again.
Come on, Auntie Pauline, we're gonna make a trip to Georgetown. You got a room for us?
She's not in GT, but
you got a room for us?
She's from GT.
Oh, okay, my bad. All right.
I'm gonna ask her to cook for me though. So cook me some messagey plantain. It's true, you guys do balance well. Oh, thank you. Hi, Bam.
Oh, Bam.
Another great show. Love you guys. We love Bam and his wife and his family.
Bam. Shout out to Bam, man.
They have organic chickens. Y'all need to check that out, for real.
I'll be out there tomorrow for the Cowboys, getting down with the Cowboys. So I see you, Bam.
Oh, Pauline, of course she's in New York. That's where every Guyanese goes.
Oh, okay. No, you ain't got no room.
That's where every Guyanese goes, to New York. All right, y'all. We love y'all. Y'all be safe this weekend. Stay vigilant. Get the stuff you need for your house. Stay prepared. OMC said Dubai is a great place. I will visit again soon. Don't go while they're there, though, because it'll be so dense with people. Don't go while they're there. Yeah. Yeah, like when they have the economic forum and stuff there, don't go there when they're there. It's just it's like 179 countries participate in that. And their assistants, their lackeys, their secretaries, their entourage. Yeah, you don't want to go there during that time. It says thank you and continue blessings to you and yours. Stay up, EMS bro. You're her EMS bro now.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna stay up.
All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one. I never know how to turn this on.
I don't know either.